Good afternoon. It's another day, another edition of 60 Minutes Nigeria. What a delight to have you on the program today. My name is Egosa Agbonlaho. I have very distinguished personalities with me on set today, and we'll be looking at crucial issues that has to do with the development of this country. One mind-disturbing issue is that of insecurity. Insecurity in Nigeria seems to be assuming a worsening dimension. And of course, you know the import of that. It scares off investors, it scares tourists, and of course, gives a very negative image to the country. But the president, Muhammadu Buhari, has had meetings with security chiefs lately, and of course, it's in the news because he commended the acting Inspector General of Police, Damu, for his effort to tackle or to curb insecurity in this country. And he said that the acting IGP is losing weight because he's working hard. And that generated reactions from the nooks and crannies of this country. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 60 Minutes Nigeria. I introduce my guest. I have with me a legal practitioner, a human rights activist, and of course a chartered arbitrator, Barrister Patrick Isekwene. Nice to have you on the program today.
Good afternoon.
I also have with me a very renowned analyst and of course a social a public commentator talking about Agarase Idubo. Nice to have you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I have with me also a former governorship candidate who contested in the last Edo State governorship election and a very seasoned politician and author, Bishop Akalame. Nice to have you on the program. Okay, so we are looking at the worsening security situation in the country, and after that we also be looking at ways to resolve the problem of unemployment in Nigeria. You won't believe it that the federal government offered employment recently to core members. You want to know about that? Okay, so we'll be dissecting all of these on the program. Let's get started with a very disturbing issue, and that has to do with the worsening insecurity. The news is awash with reports of kidnapping, reports of terrorist acts by Boko Haram, bandits, headsmen, a lot of insecurity reports, very disturbing and alarming. We'll start with Agarase Idubo. You have seen a lot in this country. Years back, Nigeria, years back, and Nigeria now. What's your take on this worsening security situation?
Yeah, thank you very much. Attempts in this country to discuss security for me is a very serious issue, a serious challenge.
Yeah.
People now sleep with their two eyes open, so I don't know how they sleep. Very basically, the last 20 years or thereabout, this country has on a daily basis continued to be unsafe. Okay, fine. Naturally, it used to be, as a result of persons believing that there is misappropriation of wealth, distribution of wealth, that gave rise to the Niger Delta issues and all that. People thought, okay, fine. If we produce the things that give us all the right to be a good country, they let us share. But very honestly, when that arose at that time, people thought it was going to be a child's play, and when the leader of state came with a program to, so to speak, address that, we thought that was going to be the end of that. But as that was, nature also abhors vacuum.
Yes.
When there's a treatment for something, nature creates another problem. It's natural. Nature abhors vacuum. There must be a problem somewhere. As we were just thinking about, how now we are trying to address the Niger Delta issue, Boko Haram came. Okay, Boko Haram was just trying to, okay, fine, people say we have conquered Boko Haram. Okay, herdsmen came. And I'm very sure if we conquer herdsmen, now something else will come. But very basically, I think too many things are wrong with our system. The leadership has been a little bit funny. Insecurity, I think, have been traced to the quality of leadership that we have in the country. I've tried to look at why a country is unsafe. One, we have the last election showed how bad the security men could operate. Those who watched the kind of things, the footages that came out of the election. In an election to elect a president, you'll find that close to 300-400 people have been killed. So it shows the ineptitude of the security operatives. Because if you have a system in place to check some situations, some things, then of course something is wrong. Then the response system. A man sees armed robbers attacking, and you call the police. The response time is such that the armed robbers will have gone, far gone, before the police woke up. So very honestly, many things are wrong with the system, but I just believe that when we have educated young people who will understand that it should not be used as pawns in the political chessboard, educated people that should not be allowed to allow themselves to be used as security threats, breaches, because it's safer to keep us uninformed. It's safer. So those who are keeping us uninformed, they are happier. The more people are informed, the better they are used for insecurity. I mean, those who do Boko Haram, for instance, those who carry, who use bomb to kill themselves, they are very uninformed. They just believe that if you kill yourself, you go to heaven. So, but if you know the consequence of a thing, or you now know why you should not do it, if a man is informed, for instance, he would not go and allow himself to be used as pawn in political chessboard to go and be rigging an election. You wouldn't do that. But because the young persons are not educated sufficiently well, so they allow themselves to be doing some things that are not right. But there are many things, many factors that have come to play why the issue of insecurity has become so alarming in our country. And I'm very sure, as my friends will get involved later. Yeah. But for me, I just believe that if you have, I'm glad my friend is here, the bishop. If the parents and the religious leaders do what everybody should do, then of course there will be little need for us to be crying. But I'm sure my friends will talk. I'll come in more, but so I don't exhaust.
Okay, before we allow our other guests to make their contribution to the program, we'll take a break to allow us to introduce our other discussant on the show, Barrister Sonny Daudu, who has just joined us. We'll just take a break.
Hooray! Igbeneghu University Okada is 20. The first private university in Nigeria, Igbeneghu University Okada, issued with certificate number 001, presented 10th May 1999, is 20 years old. The Chancellor, Board of Regents, Governing Council, Vice Chancellor, Management, Staff, and students of Igbeneghu University Okada invites you to its 20th anniversary, holding from Monday 6th May to 10th of May 2019 in Okada, Edo State, Nigeria. It's been 20 years of educational advancement, 20 years of breaking new frontiers, 20 years of setting the pace. Igbeneghu University Okada, the brainchild of globally recognized icon of immeasurable value, a quintessential octogenarian, a foremost investor, calm industrialist per excellence, a man of many firsts and still counting, the founder, Honorable Chancellor, Igbeneghu University Okada, His Excellency Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawawu Igbeneghu CFR, the Isama of Benin, is first private university in Nigeria to produce first-class graduates from the Nigerian Law School, first private university in Nigeria to produce qualified medical doctors in Nigeria and sub-Saharan Africa. Out of the about 73,000 medical doctors from Nigerian universities, Igbeneghu University Okada has contributed its first share of about 1,300 trained qualified medical doctors. What shall we say about these glorious milestones? It could only have been by the grace of the Almighty God. Join us celebrate these 2 decades of academic excellence.
We blamed ourselves enough. We complained enough. We cried enough. We fought ourselves enough. We've hated ourselves enough. It's time to do what the Bible says. Come together as a people. Come, let's build a new virile nation. If we all want to look at the ugly side of Nigeria, we find nothing good at it. I do not know any other country in Africa that is as big as ours, that is as populated, and so much blessed with natural resources, blessed with natural gift of God. Whosoever you are, this is one country that we have to join our hands to build it together and get a new nation. Nigeria must not be destroyed. We can make that determination. Whether you are in the police, whether you are in the army, particularly those of you that God has given grace in position of rulership, we have a right to call the nation to new attention. God is able to heal Nigeria.
Okay, just joining us is Barrister Sonny, the audio legal practitioner in Edo State. Nice to have you on the program. Okay, we've gotten the comments of Agarese Dubo. We'll now get the thoughts of Barrister Patrick Isiekwene. The worsening security situation in Nigeria gives cause for concern. What's your take on it?
Issue of security is an issue that not be treated with levity.
Okay.
Because even our constitution, by virtue of section 14, stated clearly, made it clear that the paramount purpose of the government is for the welfare and security of the people. Security, welfare and security of the people. Which means that since the country has taken judicial notice of that, it becomes a serious matter.
Okay.
So what we're experiencing today is a very bad one, as far as we are concerned, which ordinarily there's no longer government will have to play politics with the security of the people. Because when there's no safety, where we would have had some foreigners who want to invest, will be scared away. Some foreigners who want to live in Nigeria will want to also leave the country. But the way it is now, nobody is longer safe. Kidnapping, sorry to say, is not the occupation of the youths. Anybody can be kidnapped at any moment, any hour. So insecurity is a problem in the country. So now this thing became, I think it's just about during the good luck time. We know it is showing his face when the men struck for the first time. We heard about terrorists. We never heard about that men when they struck. I think that was the real genesis of we gave exposure to the issue of insecurity, terrorism for the first time. It was started managing the system until good luck coming in as the president. I mean, not acting capacity now, as the duly elected president of the country. That where terrorism now became more exposed to the people. People like that, bombard here and here, started defending like Boko Haram, the second one, the September 11, the Al-Qaeda and the rest. We now know that insecurity, even globally, nobody is safe, but to a minimum. But here, what we have here now is a critical one that's called for concern for every Nigerian. Various IGPs they've tried, they've done their best before they come in on this IGP. So, but with the amount of the product IGP we have now, the type of person I know too well, if you cannot take care of this issue, tackle it, that means there's a problem. Because it's a very honest, disciplined, hardworking IGP. While we was in zone 5 here, I know too well, I know how he operates. I think he'll be able to solve this problem, but we bear the minimum.
Okay, thank you. Let's get the thoughts of Bishop Akalame on the situation before we proceed.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
International. You see, insecurity
Yes.
is a very serious economic problem affecting us as a nation. It affects the growth and development of any nation. Now, in Nigeria, we're now faced with a lot of insecurity situations. from kidnapping, armed robbery, one chance, Yahoo Plus, economic insecurity, political insecurity, social insecurity, and terrorism being sponsored by some desperate politicians just to destabilize their political enemies, while the poor become the victims. So it has become a whole lot of challenges for this country. But what I'm not too comfortable with is giving all the blame to the government. Because this problem, it is not a systemic problem. It is the people's problem. Now, you can imagine a situation when parents don't do their job very well. What do you expect? Now, if you look at this security today in Nigeria, there are some various factors. There are various factors that are responsible for the insecurity issues affecting us today as a nation. We have parental pressure. Mr. John, your mate just came home yesterday. We are giving birth to at the same month. He came with a car. What are you waiting for? Maybe the young man just struggling in one of these towns in Lagos or anywhere, receiving 10,000 every month. Now you now go back, begin to think how he can accumulate 30K to buy a car. So the next thing is how to steal the company's fund so that he can buy a car. Or maybe alternatively look for a way where he can engage in all those illegal activities to make money to buy that car. Parental pressure. Then we have the society too. The society is another problem. Societal influence. You come to an occasion, you have a friend that you graduated together in the same school. They give you so much recognition just because you have some few naira in his pocket you don't have. So it's a call, it's a wake-up call to you that instead of me to remain where I am, there's need for me to embark on what? Engage in illegality to what? To make money. Then if you see, check all this is the unemployment in an ideal society. Not where people are not ready to work, but a society where people are capable, who are capable and willing to work. Then the jobs are not just there for them. There is a song in Afema. In a check way, it can boom in name of way. We are at risk.
What's the meaning of that?
What means that in a check way, when there are more than those who are enjoying themselves, we are at risk.
What do you need check way?
In a check way means those who are suffering.
Oh, okay.
By the time those who are suffering, they are more in number than those who are enjoying themselves. We are at risk. And I can tell you that the political elites, they understand this philosophy. That is why anytime they are coming out like this, they come out with 20 police officers, 30 to safeguard themselves. Because they know that there is danger. People have been impoverished. So these are some of the issues. A situation where you have leaders who cannot provide for the people, that is economy, that is political, what is security. When you pay for NEPA, you are waiting for the light to come, you don't see it. That is economic insecurity. You've done your job, you are now old. The government cannot pay your pension. That is your social security. Yesterday, I'm not saying this because I'm not too happy. In as much as I'm a stakeholder in a state, I must say things the way I say that. I told you yesterday, I came from other state. I entered this state very late at night. My brother, Benin City is as dark as charcoal at night. The way I saw Benin City yesterday night, even my village where I come from, even when I told about that, is not as dark as the way Benin is. So I want to challenge the governor that if there is a contractor there, or any government agency that is charged with the responsibility of making sure that the people have street lights, they should wake up for their responsibility. Because this is the capital city, no, I'm not happy. You will see some people who are coming for the very first time into the state. They begin to make some comments about this. What is all this? Is it Benin City? Is it capital city? I am not the governor yet, but I'm not too happy when I see a comment like this. When you say things like this one can even contribute to insecurity. Okay? Contribute to insecurity. You can imagine when you are in your street. I give you an example. Just start for technical junction there. When you start there, you can almost see the end of technical junction. But during at night, you can't go there because it's very dark. That place is always an escape route. I don't see any person in Benin that have not driven through technical school road where there are problems in the major road. But today, The road is in a deplorable state, no street light, and I'm also told that that place, there are other political...
No, but so that we don't deviate, the state government is actually working on a number of roads, and maybe they will soon get there. Yes, okay. Okay.
We are talking about security because if you can see around you, if anybody wants to slap you, you will know. Do you know, say, I beg you by saying this, so that my friend can take up.
Yes.
The police officer I saw yesterday night, he said he came to Benin City for the very first time. He said when he asked them, I said, please stop me where I can easily get access to any of the hotels to lodge. He said the driver brought him to Downsy Junction. Because the place was dark. He said when he came down, was waiting for vehicle. The first thing he saw was a knife at his back. He said they collected his bag. For the very first time, he said it up Benin City. He said when he get to the hospital, he said when they started treating him, they said the knife was a poisonous knife. They had to treat himself for 6 months. So when the place is dark, insecurity is... what are you talking about? You are giving room to armed robbery. A lot of issues. So that's what we're talking about. So government has a share in this.
Okay, we will elaborate more. Let's also get the mindset of Barrister Sonny Daudu on this issue. Yes.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
My colleagues here have spoken well on what insecurity is and how it affects Nigeria as a people. Fundamentally, security is a concern as actually provided for that the Constitution, that every government, every agency of government should be ready to, of course, take security as priority. What is important to me is that government needs to prioritize security as a concern because in a society or a country where there are security problems, there will be difficulties in achieving sustainable development and growth in such a country. But what is more concern to me is not the fact that there are security concerns now, is how do we redefine our security architecture to arrest these incidents. Yes, of course, security issues are not peculiar to Nigeria. It's a global phenomenon. But the way and manner it affecting Nigeria now, that is why it becomes a contemporary topical issue, which needs to be advocated for government to take proactive actions to arrest same. So technically, what I will advocate here is that there are factors that necessitate security situations in Nigeria or insecurity situations in Nigeria. One of which is the porous natures of our borders. Most of the insurgencies that find their way into Nigeria are not really Nigerians. And as such, Nigeria must ensure that the security situations are checked by, first of all, closing the borders against persons who are illegally migrating to Nigeria. That is one option. Another option is that there is what is called digital security monitoring and evaluation. All of these, as I speak with you, the government need to redirect their actions or policy formulations towards ensuring that there is a technological advancement in managing security situations in Nigeria, so that when all these things are raising their ugly heads, they could be checked. Again, budgetary allocations on security. Of course, there is a good budgetary allocation for security, but the question is that what is the budget for security premise to do? These are issues. So if all these issues are articulated and addressed, then of course we'll be on the right path to development. Again, when you tie security to unemployment situations, there's a common saying that the devil's workshop, an idle man is the devil's workshop. A man who is either capable and ready to work, but is idle. Then the next thing is to think of what needs to be done. And most often than not, it is an evil thought that may create situations that may result to insecurity in the country. So government also should also redesign policies to ensure that able-bodied men and women are engaged productively, so that a man who is engaged during the working hours, maybe between 8 o'clock in the morning and perhaps close 4 o'clock before he gets his house, is about 5 or 6, he's tired. He is engaged. He is thinking of the next assignment to do at office tomorrow. Such situations will also arrest security situations in Nigeria. Again, the security architecture, the physical security architecture, that is the military, the police, and other security agencies, are not enough. The number of security personnel to the populations is a far cry. For instance, a population of about 1.8 million. I don't know the security architecture we have in terms of physical security now to the number. So when you see such situations, the tendency of exposing the people to danger is there. So government should also look at ensuring that they boost technology in security monitoring, employ more policemen, soldiers, and other sister security agencies to ensure that there is proper monitoring of all concerned environments. Now, there was a situation of before now where some schools were being victims of security concerns. Some of us advocated here and some other forums that all private, public, primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions should be wall round, and at least a police station or police spot built around such areas. As I speak to you, I don't think there's a policy like that from the government to address such situation. So if we leave our society porous, then the tendency is that people will take advantage of the porous nature of the system and unleash mayhem on the citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And that will also affect the lives and property of Nigeria.
Thank you, Barrister Sonny Dao. The case in point is the situation of Taraba State University, where the lecturers are calling for relevant authorities or the government to fence the institution. We've heard of kidnapping of lecturers, some gunmen attacking the residential quarters of lecturers. So I think you make a very valid point as regard that. But Mr. President is the #1 security man, and I believe that Nigerians voted in President Buhari because they believe he's a general. And as a general, he will be able to tackle the security situation of the country. He just commended the acting IGP and said the IGP has lost weight because of his fight against insecurity. I gotta say, Dubo, you want to comment on that?
Yeah,
Is the IGP winning the war? Is the police winning the war?
I think they are trying to do their best. I've always told people nobody gives you credit for intention.
Okay.
They give you credit for success or action, for accomplishment. I think he's trying his best so far. But let me address one matter my brother raised.
Okay.
This issue of our borders. Yes, borders are porous, but it is the sincerity of those manning these borders. I listened to a commentary a few weeks ago that we have 1,034 unmanned areas of our borders. There are a total of 1,345 points between Nigeria and neighbors and all that are border points. But of all of this, only about less than 20% are manned by operatives. But having said that, I don't think it's a lot of policemen that will make a difference. Even if you employ 10 times the number we have now, and they work the way they are working now, they can't make any difference. They can't make, it's not the number, it's the preparedness of the police. You can have one policeman who is fully equipped to do the work of 100 policemen who are the way they are now. If the response time, if there are criminals in environments and the police architecture provides for them to have system. I mean, I was in Germany a few years ago, And I was somewhere like a party, and there was an issue there. And they called the police. In 5 minutes they were there. In 5 minutes. The policemen were not too many. But again, they had posts that were, posts almost everywhere. But the posts are not manned by 100 policemen. We have seen in Nigeria where bandits drove policemen from the station. I mean, there are 3 instances now that I've listened to. Bandits will enter a police station and drive them away. It's not as if the bandits were operating in my house or in your house. Now they went to the police and drove them away. And even killed and took out. So what I'm saying is, let the police be better equipped so that the response time can be minimal. If you are in Ugbo, for instance, and you call a policeman who is here at Oluku, and if the communication system is right, the man gets that he has a good vehicle, in 5 minutes he will respond. He will come there and he will do what he should do. But I haven't said all of this. He talked about unemployment. Yes. Again, in my opening remarks, our people, the system, maybe that's for another day now. The system of education is important to us. But I haven't said all of this. He made a point, those who are unemployed, of course, there are easy tools for the devil to use. But I want to think that in the center of all of this is leadership. The IGP is lean now, yes, it's possible. If he's lean, that does not suggest that he's working too hard. You can be lean if you are confused. But basically, I want to give credit to him that he appears to have is introducing some new things now, which is changing the architecture. But I haven't said all of this. I would like us to do one. The unemployment situation, fine. We have about 22 million unemployed graduates in this country. That's a lot of persons. In the last 4 years, over 4 million have lost their jobs. But the good thing about that is that it gives you a new horizon to think now. What do you do with yourself? I was in the church last Sunday, and my minister said to us, and he opened our eyes, unemployment, yes. In where our church is situated, he said, in this environment, he loves eating akara. He said, is there any woman friend akara in this environment? No. And a large expanse. So if we find, if all those women are lazing around, say they don't have job, go and fry akara. An environment. So the style, you can introduce a style to you, what you're doing. We have seen people who are selling granite, and they are making money. It depends on how you package yourself. You can introduce an item into the market, and the packaging is right. You become different. So for me, I like us to look at it, because security, most people look at it, you can't sleep anymore. Every day you hear of one. In 2014, the Boko Haram were here, they killed 6,750 people in 1 year. And between 2014 and now, they've killed over 10,000 people. So how can we be in a country where 10,000 lives are being lost by one Boko Haram? In Kaduna, the Kaduna Expressway, it has become part of the news every day. They kidnap people there almost on a daily basis. So the policemen, they are aware, everybody's aware that that route is becoming very funny. And even a lot of that, they launched operation something today, tomorrow armed robbery struck. And over 100 persons were driven to the bush. So what kind of country are we in? Now everybody's afraid. He mentioned everybody going about with 10 policemen every day. It is a sign of insecurity. Even pastors now go with security inside the church. Even pastors. You see pastors, people, men of God, who should preach faith to people, because they're not too sure, they go with policemen inside the church. So you find that the situation is such that it has created a kind of thing that all of us, but security is not government's business. Our business, everybody is your business, because policemen can only act on information. They are not spirits, and these robbers too are not spirits. They live amongst us. So we also must be proactive enough to know who our neighbors are. If we find strange faces, we want to find out. But we say we don't care, it's police business. All of us, security is our business, everybody's business, so we must help the police to do what they should do.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Barrister Sekwene, you've always commended the IGP because of your personal relationship with him. The president said he has lost weight. Do you think the acting IGP is actually winning the war against insecurity in this country? Yes,
like as we said earlier on, that the security architecture in this country has been almost altered now. He started doing that. He just reduced the working hour of some policemen. Some policemen work 24 hours. He said no. God forbid, it must not be. It must not be, because sometimes you are human. You get tired. Out of frustration, they can even abuse harm because they are irritated. They are tired. So at the time, say 12 hours. No police will go beyond such hour. Sure. So you can be composed mentally, emotionally. You just put that into the system. So when last time with the senators, they also brought ideas. Also new ideas how he could be able to cope this problem. I believe he's a modern policeman, whereby like what our guy said several. He's not employing 1 million policemen. We will not solve the problem. We should go with modern technique, intelligent gathering, good information, give them modern equipment, things that can give good information. Even if we have a helicopter flying up, going around, so many good things, not just by bringing it will be business as usual. You employing them. Try and empower the ones you have. Give them materials to work. Give them good training. Give them good training, or security training, whereby one person can just discover able to get about 100 criminal, 100 armed robber within 1 month, because it's equipped, information is there, you know how to do it. Not just by saying you want employment, not by employing. You must, the ones you have, go there, good officers, fine officers, encourage them. Those people know that they can do this work very well. Some have some have passion for this job.
But the IGP has complained of lack of manpower.
Manpower.
Like you said,
yes.
He met with the Senate and he complained of manpower. Yes.
You can get a man, one man can do the job of 100 men, depending. One man can do the job of 100 men, depending on how the person is. Okay, no, let me not. It's not the quantum. It's not you can bring 1 million people there. It is the preparedness. I mean, my friend talking about the architecture. It's like you have a big land, for instance. You need an architect to do something to design a house that will look good on that land. It's not you have a big land, just start to build a house because you have a big land, just fill the place with houses. No. You must design, you must look at the land, design a house that anybody will see and will say this is a house. If you have a police that is not equipped, bring 1 million police and don't equip them. They won't do anything. They won't do anything. We have heard about people having superior weapons. How can we be? It's shameful to say police was driven out of it because somebody came with superior weapon. It's shameful. So we must be, those who are in charge must be looking at how to equip police enough. If you, sorry, let me not take all our time so that we don't.
Okay, let's.
So I believe in the quality of policemen. That's what I was saying. It's like a computer doing work as a main accountant. There's a machine that you can just use. You might just bring one machine now that can sweep you to Ring Road in the next 2 hours. Whereby saving the job about 100 people for the sweeping. 200 people. I don't give an instance. So I believe in the efficacy management of men. So you don't expect now say, employ 1 million to fight Boko Haram.
You understand that
Boko Haram, the nature.
Employing 10,000 policemen.
Yeah, but what I'm not saying they should not employ, but there should not be an emphasis on that. IGP know too well that those who make use of these policemen, too well. They are the senators, those in offices, attach some bourgeois.
The
VIPs. So nothing left for to get the masses. So we have to diversify. Because if you see bring this boat to attach to various some commercial centers, most businessmen now, center transporters, once they will pay. IG will give to them. Then according that this was mainly for the purpose of the common man. We don't have to be there. So there are some area companies that needed their police, even construction company, they give to them. So now that's why you have shortages. So the issue, what I'm trying to say is that they should be empowered. The system should be changed. Whereby I want a situation whereby one officer can do job of a 10 person by providing with the modern equipment, with things needed. Understand me?
Thank you,
So
Barrister
it also the masses can also held by two intelligent reports.
Thank you, Barrister
information.
Patrick. Yeah, Bishop Akalame, what is the way forward?
From this insecurity.
Yes, this is a security problem.
You see, I've always said it
Yes.
in different forums. You don't just give a police officer and say, take this gun, go and die. You have not really addressed the situation.
Family man.
What are the issues? Okay, the remote causes. We are looking at the immediate causes. What are the remote causes of the insecurity facing us today in Nigeria?
Yeah.
If we can address all this, the natural security will just emanate. You don't need to empower police officers to go and kill themselves. They are human beings like us. They have families. I just told you something just now. You have a child. I call them child because when you are not up to 18 years, you cannot go into contract with anybody legally. You change 16.
No, but I'm a child too. To my mother.
So,
I'm still a child.
So now you are in SS2.
Okay.
Your father, your mother know that you have not taken your WAEC. You've not even written your JAM. All of a sudden, you come home with a vehicle. And your father, your mother, they are celebrating. Calling neighbor, please come and celebrate with me. My son has arrived. Just bought it. Then the same parents will take the same car to the church. The pastor will be seeing this child in school. You know that it's in SS2. He has not written JAM. He has not even going to the higher institution. He has not even gotten a job. He knows that. The same pastor will dedicate such car and pray for the young man. Say, God will bless you the more. You cannot see. So if we must have it right, parents, so many parents in this country have failed this country. Because the problem today we are having started from the family. From there he entered the society. Now it has become national. Okay? Now when you begin to raise a child like that, don't forget one day that child will become a governor of this state or become the governor of any state. Because
so you are talking about orientation.
My brother, you train your children very well. You teach them that stealing is a sin. Because it is all these things, crave for material things, crave for economic power, that is resulting to all this we are talking about. I used to tell people that you said there are no jobs, there are no jobs in Nigeria. I said we are coming to that. I want to dive into that. Now, the parents have failed in their duties. Then the religious institutions who are supposed to preach morals go against this. They don't do their job. I give you an example. 3 months ago, I was in the church. My wife just tapped me. Say, honey, I said yes. Say, please, I was invited in the church. Please, can I go? I said, well, we don't have any engagement. You can't go. He left me in the church. He went. Then when she came back, when she just came, she did not even rest. She wanted to give me information. I said, what happened? He said, do you know the guest pastor that came today? I said, no. So what happened? He said, do you know that man said that once you are in my church, you are a Yahoo boy, you have money. You just bring it. It's the money, the substance. It doesn't matter how you get the money. What is the important is the money. I said, you mean? He said, I said, yes. He said, I said, I'm not saying this. That was how I was running for. So when you see those kind of people, men of God, who do not preach morals, how do you not blame the government? Then the teachers. I'm telling you, the stakeholders now in service security point in Nigeria, the parents, too, the teachers. Do you know that the education stands for the mother's name? A word said by the mother will be taken by a little child. That's why if you have your wife, you call your wife by her name and you give birth to a child. I tell you, that child will grow up calling your mother. He will never call mommy. He will be calling that same name because he heard it. So when the parents begin to inculcate values in their children, they will grow up to be responsible. If the teachers, because the teachers are the second parents, if they teach morals to the children, they grow up to become responsible. If they go to the church and the preachers, they don't emphasize on money, they emphasize on morals. What are we talking about? Then the last part is the government. The government should do the needful. What are the needful? Like I said, in an ideal situation, ideal society, where the youth want to work, the government know what to do. Go into job creative businesses so that we can empower these people. Then the university too, they have to be sure emphasize on entrepreneurship. Okay? Then create an enabling environment for the people. And I can tell you, none of our youth would like to leave this country for another country. Okay?
Is it forbidden? I think I have done research into some. There are some countries now that they don't have inmates in their prison.
The Netherlands, we understand the Netherlands.
Because they have.
I'll come to that, you know.
Yeah.
Because they have been able to work on their economy. Everybody is not happy. If it's not leave their shop, when it is time for mosque, they will leave their shop up, they will just go. When they come back, if anything is missing, they will say it's black Africa who knows that we have stolen because they are contented. They can't steal from themselves.
Thank you very much, Bishop Akalame. I can see that the topics we have today are intertwined. We'll be looking at the worsening security situation in Nigeria, and we'll move straight now to quickly look at ways to resolve the problem of unemployment. Only recently, the federal government offered automatic employment to some core members, and in that ceremony, it was the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who actually represented the President to present the certificate, the letters of employment rather, to the lucky core members. So we'll just quickly take it from there. Barrister Sonny Daudu, the number given, definitely, looking at the unemployment situation, we know that it's not adequate. But don't it is a good step in the right direction? Federal government offering automatic employment to core members who distinguish themselves?
Yes, of course. But before I go into the details of that,
yes,
let me quickly just make my comments in relation to the President's statements in regard to the IGP when he said that it's now slim. Well, first, I think it's a praise word for him. The President needed to praise him, hence he used the language, he's slim. But what I want to say is that the IGP has never been a fat person. He has been very slim. But what I like about him is a disciplined police officer.
Yeah,
he's disciplined. So the President was just looking for a word to commend his disciplined nature. Hence he said he was slim.
okay.
I want to just react a little to the issue.
I've been told we don't have enough time.
Yes, okay.
So just quickly
on,
talk
on
about
the employment situations. Yes,
so we can
as I've said, the President has done a good thing in ensuring that youth corps or youth corps members who have distinguished themselves in the course of their service to their fatherland are rewarded by being employed by the federal government. I think that is what a government that is sensitive to the yearnings and aspirations of the citizens should do. Fundamentally, my point has remained that you cannot divorce employment from security concerns.
I have to interject. I've just been told that I must take a break now. I will quickly take a break before we call it a day on the show.
Inige, Igyohen, Ejonwe, youth and market women earlier scheduled for Friday 10th May. Police press release. The meeting of chiefs Inige, Igyohen, Ejonwe, youth and market women earlier scheduled for Friday 10th May 2019 at the Oba Palace has been shifted to Wednesday 15th May 2019 at 11 a.m. prompt. Invitees are to take note, please. Signed, Frank Irabo, Secretary, Benin Traditional Council.
Thank you for being there. We'll continue with Barrister Sonny Daudu.
Yes, thank you very much. You cannot separate or divorce employment from security concern. As I've said, that the number of police officers vis-a-vis the population of Nigeria is a foul cry. That again does not remove the fact that they need training and retraining. So first, in addressing the issue of security, we need first the number of police officers. You see, some of us who are the legal profession, we know what it is when you go to a police station. Maybe you go there, yes. They say one policeman is the IPO of about 10 cases. You have to wait, maybe from morning to almost night, the police officer may not come. Maybe it's addressing one issue. The same police officer who is an IPO in 10 cases, maybe has able to be detailed to another matter for investigation. Then you remain there. My colleague, Mr. Sekwane, will attest to that, because we have had courses to interface where we are together previously members of the NBA security with the police. So we liaise with the police. We know what it takes. And we have also personal issues when we go to police. So we know what it takes. When we say that you should employ a number of police, does not preclude the government or the agency responsible to train them and retrain them and ensure that they are well equipped. Yeah. But employment of security officers is sine qua non for curbing security situations in Nigeria. Why am I saying that? I have argued that, for instance, if you face churches, mosques, schools, you must also establish police posts, not station now, police posts in those areas, at least to be manned by not less than 3 police officers. So that if one is going around to check, one will formally be on the spot, watching the security situations. And there should also be CCTV cameras. That's what I mean by ensuring a digital security monitoring and evaluations. Yeah. All of this also need people to be employed. Again, it's not only employment in the security agencies, employment generally. If you employ people, people are engaged. The tendency of engaging in criminal activities will be reduced.
Thank you, Barrister Sonny Daudu. I gotta say, do a quick one on this issue of employment.
Yeah, for me, you know, it's clear to all of us now that the white-collar jobs are no more there.
Okay.
So let us now put our thinking caps on and regenerate. Well, there are too many things we can do for ourselves. Instead of being, let us now be employers of labor. We can create jobs now. Let us create. See, the environment. Once the government makes the environment very nice, there are a lot of SMEs now. We can pick up. We don't need to do a large thing. Pick up a small industry, employ 3-4 persons, and keep working. But very basically, we should stop thinking that government must employ everybody. We can create for ourselves employment.
Thank you very much, Barrister Patrick Sekwene. A quick one on this issue of unemployment. A quick one.
Yeah, government should try to do their best. For example, by giving out employment to some deserved coppers, also deserved Nigerians, not just solely coppers. Some universities have done so well, those that perform very well creatively in their first other ones, they can do automatic employment. Then again, government should play their role. I'm not government responsible. If government don't play their role, this thing will be in futility. As a government, we're not expecting the government to give white-collar job to everybody. No longer exists. That is just only 5%. But then 5%, we show that it's a dangerous situation. Government should make policies that will enable environment for both to go into private partnership, where they can have the employment of creator of employment of labor, so many other things.
Thank you.
Not a policy you make that is draconian. You give them multiple tasks. You make things difficult for them to incorporate their company. So many things. No, if government should just make it minimal. Try to encourage them. People going to private employment in Nigeria.
Your parting words, Bishop Kalame, on this unemployment. A quick one.
The government have to. There are a lot of measures to retrain the existing workforce to reduce what is called structural unemployment. The government should as well increase what is called aggregate demand by employing some basic tools, the fiscal and the monetary policies, to reduce personal income tax, so that people will have enough money to buy whatever they want to do, so that they can increase the employment. Then the third one is that tax holidays should be given to growing businesses, so that to give room to entrepreneurship. The various institutions, learning institutions, should begin to preach the gospel of entrepreneurship. So when we begin to have this, then the government should establish what is called graduate retraining centers, where we can empower our young graduates. So when we can do a whole lot of this, I tell you that we will have zero unemployment.
Thank you very much. I can see that this issue of ways to resolve the problem of unemployment, we'll look at it again. We're going to have a part 2 of this issue, because my guests have a lot to really comment. It has to take Nigeria out of this doldrum. Gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for your immense contribution on today's program. The worsening security situation in Nigeria has been tackled by my guests. And I know that relevant authorities would have picked very vital information from this discussion to helping Nigeria out of this problem. My name is Egosa Agbola, signing off. Bye-bye.